you ready, kids? I can't hear you. Oh, who lives in a swamp right under the sea? Who sniffs your aunt's head and won't let her flee? Who touches your mom and gropes all the kids? Be sure not to tell your dad what I did. Horny, bite and grab it, bite and grab it, bite and grab it, bite and grab it. I was feeling it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Is that a record?
Thanks for going, wow.
I haven't seen that much slurping in all my
I said
years.
not out of the gate, Dave.
Wheat
Seriously,
thins.
we got to be careful because we're dealing with Strom Thurmond and Robert Byrd today. So
Ooh.
YouTube saying, give me a reason.
What? You mean those racist Democrats who
Yeah.
maybe changed?
Yeah.
A little
Those slurpers?
Yeah,
One of them.
This is Dave. Seriously, we got to be careful with this one.
What?
bit?
It was a good slurp.
Yeah, thank you.
Us.
Party switch. We're going to be talking about that today.
Yeah.
That's a big thing because we're talking about the voting rights now. I know you're thinking, voting rights. Black people can't vote? No. You're thinking anyone can't vote? No, that's not it. So this is something that's been one of the most requested segments, and I guess we've touched on it before, but we haven't done the deep dive, as the youngins say. You know, I don't know what you kids do. Look, with your Lizzos and your iTunes, this is real life. This isn't. This is no Family Matters. So we are going to be talking about the party switch today, because voting rights is a big deal right now. And, there was a Civil Rights Act that actually took place that really did matter at one point and really did have to do with voting rights. And we're going to go back through the records, and it's probably not what you think it was. And then we're also going to go back through history, basically Abraham Lincoln through today, to address this issue of the party switch. People use it. It's lazy. It's incorrect. All references available at louderwithcrowder.com every day. And my question to you is, did you ever believe it? Out there, you guys can comment below. That's the best way to anger the YouTube sun gods. Did you believe before you see the segment? So comment now and then comment below your own comment if your mind has changed. We're talking about that. Talking about Biden's speech yesterday.
Oh boy.
Talking about what else are we talking?
One
about?
of the longest speeches in history for a president.
Really?
Press conference.
For
press
felt
conference.
that way.
Yeah.
Most of it was
Well, yes, bumbling through.
Yes. Well, he was using his Asian dialect. So before we get to... Oh, by the way, I should tell you, we're going to be here next week. Dave is going to fill in host one day. I'm not letting him know to keep him on his toes. We're going to do that super video on Wikipedia. We've got some tricks up our sleeve.
Nice.
Some things that we've already tested. Beta tested? No, actually tested. So hope you enjoy it, Wikipedia. Next Thursday, that's going to be up. And if you don't see this show on YouTube, you can just tune in and Rumble, Mug Club, weekdays, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern. 10 a.m. Eastern. Don't let them cut us off. All right. Gerald A., how are you, sir?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing. I didn't sleep for a few days. Like when people say that, like 3 hours over the course of like 3-4 days.
Yeah.
So I took something to help me sleep last night.
Yeah.
Obviously, completely
Over the counter.
Over the counter,
Yeah.
yes. And I don't know which is worse, because then you wake up and you feel even more tired than if you just hadn't slept.
You do.
Yeah.
Why do you always say that clowns will eat you if you can't sleep? I see that on your
I had one bad experience
social.
in college.
Did a clown try to eat you in your sleep?
Well, in a manner of speaking. And we have, of course, he's here. You know him. You love him. He'll be filling hosting next week. But he'll be at the Funny Stop in Cuyahoga Falls. Don't know what that is.
Cuyahoga. It's in Cleveland.
Okay. First Nations name falls January 20th or 29th. Dave Landau, how are you, sir?
Good. Ahoy.
Yeah?
Ahoy, hoy. I'm fine.
You should say ahoy first, and then, I say how are you, and then...
Okay, let's try it again.
Okay. Dave Lang, First Nations Two-Spirit Falls, how are you?
Ahoy. How about you?
We'll work on it.
Was that wrong?
I don't know.
I think you need to take more of that medicine.
Yeah, I think I need to take more of that
Yourself
medicine.
in bed.
Isn't it funny how we use the term medicine now? When we were kids, you
Yeah.
thought medicine was something good for you.
No.
And then you realize just what doctors prescribe.
Oh, there's just everything.
Yeah, it's just, this is medicine. When you're a kid, you think like Robitussin.
Yeah.
And then you wake up, you're an adult, and you're like, yeah, this is medicine. What is it? 9 milligrams of Xanax.
That's really what it is. Yeah. I tell you, whatever I take, I just wake up and the terrors don't stop. Nope. Just wake up screaming.
Well, that's
right
why you got to
around
drink,
2:30.
Dave.
That's because you wake up
No.
and you're still Dave
should.
Landau.
Yeah, it's true.
There's no
I
medication
wake
that
up
can
and there's
fix that.
just, I can't take back what I've done.
No, you wake up in a puddle of your own filth going, yeah, it seems about right. There's one hell of an ad for Valium.
I don't even use sheets. What's the point?
You
Just to
sleep in a
take them
rubber
off and
mattress.
clean them every night?
Okay, Fuller. Before we move on to anything else, this Oklahoma pastor, he's a Tulsa pastor, Michael
Pastor.
Todd. What did I say?
No.
Two first names.
I almost wanted to do like an air quotes pastor.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
I thought you were correcting me.
No, you're fine.
I said
Keep going.
pastor.
You did, yes.
No, he
great,
thinks he's a, let me try, pastor.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there we go.
Doesn't know when to use the air quotes.
Yeah.
Or as he calls them, a reminder of how to tie his shoes.
Yes.
Bunny rabbit.
Bunny.
Hole in the tree.
And he still doesn't get it.
I don't do that one.
You notice his Velcro? So Tulsa pastor Michael Todd spit on one of his parishioners to demonstrate how to live like Jesus Christ.
Changing something and you don't see it clearly yet.
What?
But you hear.
This guy's his brother.
Oh my gosh.
Is this Malcolm and Eddie?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, no.
wow.
No, sir. No.
Wow.
He hawked it.
No,
And
that was
this
from
is
the
where-
diaphragm.
Most people
That's a COVID baptism.
Ew.
would not face Jesus anymore.
No.
You're not Jesus. And Jesus
What
didn't
most
spit
people
on.
would do is
No.
turn.
No.
Away.
Turn the other cheek. Don't turn the other cheek. Just good.
Yeah.
Turn away. That's the right thing.
Get Lizzo.
Oh my God.
Get Lizzo in between you two.
If there is a man behind you spitting in his hand, you run.
Gosh.
It might get nasty.
Because I don't know how to quit you.
Oh, no. Now, I do
gosh.
have COVID.
You totally missed
That looks,
Oh,
it looks
no.
like
Do you
sunblock.
hear and see the responses of the
What did he
people?
swallow? A vat of zinc oxide before he did that?
Did you see it dangling
At
off
least
his
be
spit?
Oh my
hydrated.
gosh.
Now do the air quotes make sense?
Now look at the camera and say, "Bang Brothers."
This is to be like Jesus?
Yeah. Do you know what they did?
I think it says that
The most
somewhere in Matthew.
un-Jesus-like thing I've ever seen.
I'm a little pissed off.
Drop your cloak and take up our sword? No.
All right. You know what Jesus did? He spit into the mud. He did something on his hand, and he made a blind man see.
Right,
I don't
you
think that's what happened here.
You just made that guy have to wear an eye patch for the rest of his
Well,
life.
you probably infected him with something, potentially.
Yes, of course he did.
Come on.
Well, everybody who saw wished they were blind.
Do you think that guy had an earpiece where he could pick someone out of the crowd who he didn't like?
That was his brother.
Or what? Yeah. Oh, his brother.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. There are three possible scenarios here. Brother in the Lord.
Right.
Brother, or is his actual brother?
His actual brother.
Okay, like blood.
Blood brother.
Actually, there's four
Yeah.
cousins.
Well, I guess, yeah. This isn't the Ilhan Omar, hierarchy of brother.
Wow, that was gross. I would never let my brother do that.
No, I can't imagine.
He's
That's very gross.
It's theater in church.
Yeah, I know.
I get sometimes that's fine, but in this case, he was trying to make a point. Like, oh, you see how you're reacting? That's how people reacted when Jesus did this. And I'm like, not quite.
No.
Because a guy could see. They
Yeah.
were like, whoa,
Whoa, he can see.
yeah,
Yeah.
No,
All
that
this
is
guy
how-
has is spit in his eyes.
Curing the curse of blindness is not a mundane detail, Michael.
That is how you let a hoe know she's your property without tattoo money.
He backhanded him afterwards.
Oh, good. He slapped the spit off of him.
I gotta keep my Jesus hand strong.
That's what I do. When Jesus slapped Mary Magdalene, he said, "Bitch, I need quarters."
What is this, Pastor Cat Williams come out?
Yes. Did you not see the
And
clip?
Jesus said, y'all motherfuckers ain't got no foot, so I'm gonna kick you in the face.
Pass that plate
this
around.
is not
Don't
Jesus.
ask no questions.
This is not Jesus.
No.
He ain't did that.
That is
Look,
not
I know
Jesus-like.
I know you're waiting, the horses and everything. But can you just make a guest appearance and
Yeah,
just say that
like-
you're not with him?
He's kind of
now-
like, I've been making a guest appearance for 3 years. None of you seem
Yeah.
to care.
I know you said nobody knows the time, but I mean, it looks right to me.
Yeah, this seems very apocalyptic.
Yeah. Well, one could hope.
Yeah, he's probably just going to wait. I'm going to wait till everything's better just because you guys have been such jerks.
Yeah. We're like, can you send another flood?
No. It's going to get worse.
I think
than
that
this.
guy tried to start one.
You can't put 2 of everything on the boat now. Have you seen your diet?
Can we just leave mosquitoes off this time?
For crying out loud. Okay.
And spiders.
All right. Well, moving on into former Vice President Joe Biden. So he held his second ever press conference yesterday. I just can't believe that guy's claiming that is Christ-like.
It's not.
No.
He should spit in mud if he's trying to like give the correct presentation, but don't do it.
They said in Mission Control they think he also spit mud too, but I mean, like it was hanging off his brother's.
So
chin.
he hawked. You know what he was doing? He was grabbing like some of the back snot.
Yeah.
To like really like everybody in here who's a guy has hawked a loogie to see how far you could spit. You got to give it some weight, and that's what he did to his brother.
I mean, maybe if his brother was way younger and he was a priest.
Actually, sorry, Mission Control. They were talking about Jesus.
Jesus,
not
that's
this
what
guy.
I said. Jesus spit into the mud.
Oh,
and
yeah.
made a thing.
Researchers, you
Made
should
a paste.
make sure you delineate. Don't make sure if you're referring to actual Jesus versus crazy pastor.
I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, Jesus, when he returns, he's going to be that hobo peeing down an elevator shaft.
Well,
at least if you hear the hobo tell it.
Well, yeah.
Well, or Joan Osborne.
Yeah. We have
They rejected him at that time too.
That's always what they try and say. They try and say, Jesus, if he were around today, you would have thought he was crazy because of his radical views. No, that's not true at all.
Yeah.
That's not true at all. He was entirely lucid. If you listen to him, he was logical. He spoke sometimes in parables, which were actually pretty simple, maybe reductive, to use the term for all the leftists who like to use the term nuance to make it sound like they have a political science degree, which you probably do. It's a useless degree.
It is.
The issue here is no one would think he was crazy.
He'd probably just have a show on this network.
He probably would.
There we go.
Until he starts spitting on people.
He'd use an iPhone,
my
too.
gosh. That is just, I'm sorry, we have to go to Biden, but
It
they told me
is
not to watch that clip before being on air.
gross. I didn't
There's a reason.
see it. I didn't see the pate that he made and showered his brother.
And when the Lord said, "You brother paper mache's your cheek, offer to him your other cheek." Take that pacemaker, motherfucking hat.
Did his brother lose a bet?
Remind me on Mug Club, and it's my favorite day of the week. It's Chat Thursday, where we take all of your chats to tell a story about how I used the power of the church to almost choke my brother to death.
Really?
Very similar scenario.
I've got a loogie story. We'll throw that one.
Almost
back
my
in,
brother,
too.
except my brother was spitting.
I hope they have different dads.
Yeah, I really do.
I mean, if they're full blood related, that's just I don't get
There's
it.
a good shot. So, yesterday, you know what I'm saying, cuz?
I'm trying to stay on YouTube, baby.
Biden held a second ever press conference since being in office. It was not good, which brings us to This Week in Biden.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Allison Harris, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Speaking of voting rights legislation, if this isn't passed, do you still believe the upcoming election will be fairly conducted and its results will be legitimate?
Well, it all depends on whether or not we're able to make the case to the American people that some of this is being set up to try to alter the outcome of the election. Remember how we thought not that many people were going to show up to vote in the middle of a pandemic? We had the highest voter turnout in the history of the United States of America. Russia will be held accountable if it invades, and it depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion and then we end up having a fight about what to do and not do, etc. Now, whether or not, I think that, how can I say this in a public forum? I think that look, I didn't overpromise, but I have probably outperformed what anybody thought would happen. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
I think, therefore, I am retarded.
I don't know how that was that long with him flying off the cuff like that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, just rattling off facts.
He's like Robin Williams, stream of consciousness.
It really is
I think,
something.
therefore, I'm retarded. Ooh, this is intense. Allison Harris, Kamala Harris, sleeping with Willie Brown.
Yes.
What? Oh, look, big penis.
Oh, man. I found my way to the Oval.
Oh,
again.
look, hot lady in a mask. What if she took off that mask and actually her face looked like a mask? Half moon. Oh, that'd be intense.
By the way,
Pants are wet.
Yeah, I know we like making fun of Joe Biden, but he did something really bad there, and he's like,
That's right. He soiled himself.
Well,
Yes.
Looked around the room like he was about to tell a black joke.
Yes, he looked around. He said, "Hey, look, there's a Southern pastor. I'm a Southern pastor. This is how the bit that I do." And then he said, "I soiled myself. I pooped. I pooped.
I know people
I
use
pooped.
spit, but I'm going to use something else.
How do I?
Three wishes.
How do I say this terrible thing in a public forum? I just said that out loud.
Oh boy. Oh.
Robble.
Wait until I do my gay voice, an Arnold impression. I do it every single time. Stream of consciousness. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's really bad because he said Russia. Well, it depends on if it's like a minor incursion or something. We have to argue about this, and Russia's like, oh, we can do a minor incursion. By the way, you know who had a problem with this? The president of Ukraine. He actually tweeted out about this, and I think we have that if you can bring that up in just a second. He actually was like, look, there are
Wait, the sitting president of the Ukraine is still allowed on Twitter?
He is. I know that sounds
Weird.
like it's not allowed.
That miracle spit's doing wonders for him.
It does.
But if you can bring it up, it's in the On Air channel. He basically is saying, like, there are no minor incursions. There are no minor, like, fatalities. There are no minor people losing lives and grieving over it. There's no minor countries. And by the way, he's like, this is from somebody who is not a minor country. Like, come on. How in the world can you say that kind of thing is okay?
Yeah.
Right? Being able to invade them in a minor way.
Yeah. If we have to start,
Essentially
fighting about, they're already fighting.
Yes.
That's like a guy punching you in the face repeatedly, and you're like, so you what? You want to fight? What are you saying? We punched you.
And then the fight was over, and you just kept hitting him.
Yeah, but
why?
It was a minor punch, Steve.
Skittles.
Oh my gosh,
Hey,
this is scary. It really is scary.
I can't
we're
even
on the
read the
brink
name
of war.
Allison, and I do this for a living.
What?
Tons of
I
living.
have to
president.
remember the names. Whose song? Allison.
How do I say this?
You know I'm gonna call on you. Okay, come on.
Joe, you're singing again.
come on.
Joe, somebody.
Yeah.
What happened to normal names? Like Ruthie and Gertrude.
Yeah.
And all the girls that were around when I was young.
Somebody tackle
I know
him.
a lady.
Oh, God.
I know a lady. Ethel.
No.
We used to go to the restroom at Amy's time.
No.
Yeah.
Amy,
No.
what you want?
Oh, Beatrice. I once had my way with a Beatrice in the pool.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. We're going to have to clean that up.
Consensual.
It was kind of, it was 1950s consensual.
No means yes. Come on. So,
It was what I wanted.
Amy Schumer, before we move on here, we have a long segment today on the switching of the parties. Amy Schumer. Let me be clear about something here, okay? I have never once, because sometimes people say, why do you pick on fat people? We've never once just found something, ha, you're fat. It doesn't exist. It's people who demand that you declare them beautiful, brave, beautiful, healthy.
Yeah.
That's the issue. Yeah. We're telling young people that all of this is good, and it's not. If I see people who are overweight at the gym, almost brings a tear to my eye. I want to see people taking that first step.
Putting in the work.
You know who had a little bit of a weight problem? Me.
Well, it was post-surgery.
Yeah.
And when you were younger.
But when I was younger, and that's why I got a gym
think he was
membership.
referring to younger, and you just crapped all over him. Did you see the...
Yeah. I was
twinkle
trying to
come out of
say,
his
like,
eye?
you know who had a weight problem? Me when I was like 14, and Jill was like, no!
You do now.
You were fat only
Ah.
6 months ago, man!
Yeah. It's not 7'2". We all can't just eat everything all day, Gerald.
Stephen in July, he had some juicy tits.
All right.
They were floppy.
Whoa.
I watched him run.
The legend of Stephen's tits. Come on.
Have some.
All right. Amy Schumer showed off her stunning new body on Instagram, saying, I feel good finally. Well, she feels pretty. She didn't note she didn't say witty.
Did you know she was just in a movie called I Feel Pretty a couple years ago?
I feel pretty, so pretty.
so
I feel pretty, not witty, and fat. I feel good, finally. It's been a journey. Never thought I would do anything but talk to me after your uterus doesn't contract for 2.5 years and you turn 40. And but here's the thing. You will actually be shocked.
Okay.
By the before and after picture.
So good results.
Good results. And I want to give her credit. Here's the before picture. Here's the after picture. So she just turned around.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Is that
She turned around to avoid the pastor's spit. Don't turn around now. Don't turn around now. Come get your blessing.
You'd have to do
Come
something.
on, get your blessing.
Go ahead.
I'm not blind. I can see.
I'm about to bless you up in this mother.
I don't need it. I can see. I'm fine. I know the miracle. I'm good.
Come on, get your wafer up here.
Take my body, my blood, and my spit.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. This spit gon' turn into gold up in this mother.
Reach back. Way back.
Come on, get you Jesus.
I'm sorry, that was actually wrong. Here's the correct before and after. Yeah. It's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
Whatever.
Put a stripe down
Look,
that
I
suit. A
mean-
shark will think she's a hostess Twinkie.
I appreciate the effort, but I just don't.
Which one's the black one with the white swirl? Which one's the black
It's
paste?
a twink. Is it?
Not Twinkie.
What?
Twinkie's the white one.
What's it called?
Oh, you mean
Swiss roll?
Ding
Swiss
dong.
rolls.
Swiss rolls.
Swiss rolls.
Yep.
Or you mean
Oh,
the
no, no,
ho-ho.
no.
You're talking ho-ho.
Oh,
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think you got it right. The ding dong. I think it's the ding dong.
It's a ding
There's
dong.
a ding-dong, which is like a hockey puck.
Yeah, also
Yes.
Michelle Obama's dress.
Also known as King Don. It's like pick one, hostess.
Yeah, for crying out loud.
Ding dong is way funnier as a kid. So why weren't we making fun of those? I never made fun of those.
Well, that's because of how you were raised.
Oh, well.
Yeah, because
Were you guys making fun of
You
those?
were eating so many ding-dongs it didn't make a difference.
That's it. That's it.
That's the Swiss roll.
Yeah, if you could just put that down, Amy Schumer, just down that bathing suit.
He's like the black one with the creamy inside. My neighbor Kevin.
Jeez. You
All
got
right.
neighbors?
Before we move on to the party switch, which I'm looking forward to getting into, this is while we're
Leroy?
talking about very scary things. Amy Schumer. The new Scream released this weekend. Actually, just had it had $30.6 million. Had a pretty.
That's good.
Had a pretty. What dare I say? A frightening success.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Scream at the box office had a frightening success. It was spookily successful.
A lot of talking in the theater.
Yes, lot of speaking in the theater. But it depends on the neighborhood.
Or if
Did you get spit on by your pastor before going into the theater? You're talking.
don't miss your spit.
It is absolutely horrifying.
Thank you for bringing your baby to an R-rated film.
Yes. Thank you for using Machete as your most fitting babysitter. You've run this theater as the delinquent circus monkey. You are far long enough.
All right.
Yes.
We've gone through Vincent Price and people. There's like 4 Vincent. I don't care. All right. So it was very successful, Scream. And I like horror films, but we all know obviously it's tough when you watch a horror film.
Yeah.
There's something about them, especially the slasher films that just. Scream, a perfect example, seem a little unrealistic, and I think they could be improved.
I think so.
Ahoy, hoy.
You hung up on me.
Because you were being weird.
What's that noise?
Popcorn?
You're making popcorn?
Uh-huh.
I only eat popcorn at the movies.
Well, I'm about to watch a video.
Really? What?
Some scary movie.
Do you like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Ooh, I guess... Oh, An Inconvenient Truth.
Mine's Money Playing with Kelsey Grammer.
Oh, that is a good one.
True. I'm getting off track. What's your name?
Why do you want to know my name?
Because I want to know who I'm looking at.
Listen, ass.
No. You listen, Casey, you little bitch. If you hang up on me again, I'll gut you like a fish. Understand?
How do you know my name?
I'm coming in.
Joey.
Who's the bitch now?
Horror movies don't work with a Walther. Your popcorn's burning, bitch.
Stop speaking in the theater.
Sounds like we just winged him.
Yeah.
You know? He's
I don't
still
know.
there.
Oh, he's still there. He might come
yeah.
back. I hear there's going to be a sequel.
There could be a sequel. Turn that around very quickly with the Scream release. By the way, you guys can go to waltherarms.com.
Yeah.
And you can't purchase the firearms, obviously, online. You have to go to your local dealer, your local certified dealer. But you can shop for parts, optics, lights. Look, they have the balls to sponsor this show. I know there are a lot of firearm choices that you have out there. This is what I carry. I trust my life with it. They're fantastic. And I'm not going to do a lot of selling you on it. Just Google Walther PPQ review. Google Walther PDP review. Just Google, Bing, use that little bent back paper clip or that purple Bonzo buddy. I don't care. And try and find something negative.
Yeah.
They just don't have the same kind of scope for advertising like other people. It's one of the best kept secrets in the firearm industry.
Yeah.
I love them. They're fantastic. Good people over there.
Go try it. That's what we want you to do.
Just try it. That's all you need to do. Try it side by side. Go to a gun range. Try the Walther. Okay. Also hit the notification bell right now.
Yeah.
If you're watching right now, hit that notification bell. I realize that Tim the Toolman has shorter arms because he has to reach for the thing, and he's like,
You're like a T-Rex. Spit on him.
T-Rex looks more like a giant turkey. Have you seen this now? Like the Velociraptor. They keep changing the dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're saying that they're all filled with feathers. Nobody would have been afraid of Jurassic Park.
Well, they're not filled with feathers. It's not
Covered. You're right. They're not filled. They're not feathered
Not
down
my
dinosaurs.
Looks like a bird.
Get my dinosaur.
Get my dinosaur. If it's not the most comfortable dino you've ever slept on, then this election's been a fraud.
I was high on Crackles cocaine when I thought of stuffed dinosaur pillows.
They're turning the dinosaurs gay, Steven. They're turning them gay. They're absolutely turning the dinosaurs gay. They're making dinosaur humanoid hybrids. I just saw a man. What? Look. I know everyone's going to say that you're crazy.
I was hurting my knees when I was about to pay my drug dealer with my mouth.
Oh, well, we switched to Alex.
Oh, come on.
There was a man / Velociraptor walking down Guadalupe. I just saw him.
It's your dinosaur knee pillow.
I do actually have a lot of
when you're out
respect
of
for
cash.
a lot of for Mike Lindell. The guy got over drugged.
No,
it
I've
always
met Mike.
sucks when-
I like Mike.
When people always hold it against someone for the rest of their life. They used to do that with George W. Bush. Say, "Oh yeah, well you did cocaine." And how'd you
LIARS.
figure out? You listened to him?
Yeah.
I did cocaine this morning.
I thought I got a second chance. Is that not right?
So did babies in the 1920s when they had a cough.
Yeah, that's what they used to do. Or there was Bayer's heroin.
Hey, don't forget Coca-Cola.
Ask your doctor about heroin.
My baby, I think, has acid reflux. Oh, well, better do heroin.
Yes, and to really seal it in, be sure to coat his gums with whiskey from the bottle.
Yes.
Ask your doctor about Wild Turkey 101.
Your baby will sleep sound.
Yes,
Yes,
the
will
right
do.
way, the doctor's way. And here's a box of Chesterfields. 9 out of 10 doctors recommend them.
And your lice-ridden, stupid flapper hair.
Yes, absolutely. Also recommended. Don't forget to of course, enjoy your 10 minutes of staring at the sun.
Every day.
Every
the
day.
eyes.
Good for the eyes.
Yes.
Vitamin sun.
Vitamin sun and carrots.
Be sure to cover yourself in suntan lotion so you get more sun when you're outside. Enjoy cancer.
Yes. We want you to put on more suntan lotion to prevent your skin from absorbing sun as your eyes enjoy its warming rays.
Staring at the sun may result in gulag.
So also, here's something that's pretty big right now. I don't know if you guys knew this. Support for the Republican Party, the GOP, just skyrocketed.
Really?
This is huge. Over the last year, the party preference shifted among Americans. I think this is the biggest shift, largest. It's a 14-point swing. It's the largest in Gallup's history.
Wow.
Ever.
That's
In
just
Gallup's history.
In a 1 year period of time.
Yeah. So Q1 2021, 40% of voters favored Republicans compared to 49% favoring Democrats. Okay. Now it's switched. That's Q1, Q4, same year, 47% favoring Republicans and 42. That's a 14-point swing within a year.
Looks like it's going to be a good year.
Yeah.
I love midterms, baby.
And what are you going to say now? What are you going to be like? Well, Rasmussen's done, but okay, how about Gallup? Well, they're not legitimate. Snopes says maybe.
Unconfirmed.
Well, hopefully we'll have record turnout during a pandemic.
Yes.
That's a miracle. Turns out when you mail ballots out to everybody, they come back.
Remember y'all thought
did
people
happen.
wouldn't come out and vote? Yeah. Pandemic record number. Even Joe Lewis voted.
Yeah. Great.
Fraser. Marciano.
Literally, hundreds of my dead friends.
I was surprised. I said, who's that? Jack Dempsey voted twice.
Yeah, crazy.
I just want to be clear. He did
Jack
say that-
LaLanne 4 times.
So does Juicer.
I just want to be clear. Biden did say that we might have reason not to trust the 2022 election results.
Well, if he loses.
Well, no. But I thought that you couldn't say that.
No, you're not allowed to say
that.
that.
You would get banned, and so I'm assuming that Joe Biden is now banned from any social media or media in general.
Inspiring an insurrection.
Right.
Well, I would assume you would take the second sitting president off of Twitter, right?
Yes.
I would think.
Kamala should leave.
I'm just making sure.
Not so much sitting as lying.
Are either one of them? Yeah, she's really the first female president, huh?
Chair needs to go back.
Or will be. What might be.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that right.
I don't know how to say it right either.
How do I say it on a public
You don't need to say it because former Vice President Joe Biden said, President Harris.
I'm doing better than everybody thought I'm still alive.
At least he hasn't said it dozens of times.
If your defense, former Vice President, your strongest defense is from the publicly assigned defending attorney and my cousin Vinny, I'm doing better.
What is it you're wearing?
The jury.
Yeah. Allison. All right. So let's get into this, the party switch myth, because right now the Voting Rights, is it called the Voting Rights Act, the Voting Rights Bill? I think it's officially titled the Voting Rights Act.
I think it's Act.
Because they wanted to sort of dovetail in behind the Civil Rights Act.
Yeah,
and they
it's
thought
got titling.
They think so little of African Americans, they thought they could trick them with a title.
Like I thought we had this in like 57 and 64.
Isn't there a Civil Rights Act?
Yeah.
Yep.
Isn't there a Civil Rights Act 2 back in
Well,
Abbott?
part deux.
Well, it was going to happen, but the lead was getting too old for this shit.
Lethal Weapon 4 should never have been made.
I don't know.
It's a classic.
They added Chris Rock and Jet Li. I mean, it comes with its perks. Okay. So while we're on the subject of this,
That's nuts.
this is something that you're told quite a bit, okay? And this is something that is one of the most pervasive myths that the left has used. And they've used it successfully because it's just sort of gone unchallenged.
Yeah.
And I think this is what happens. The reason that it goes unchallenged is because often people are afraid of having to defend the character of individuals who've played a role in their party. You sort of see this, for example, with President Trump, where people would say, well, he sent out mean. I've always been very clear about the problems that I have with him, but I didn't feel the need to say it every single time that he did something good. Republicans are afraid because of the character assassination, and this is what they do when they say, look, there was a party switch, and they go, well, okay, I guess, Strom Thurmond did some bad stuff, so let's just get off of that because they have a bunch of strategists telling them that it's a losing play, and it's just incorrect. It's very easy to refute, and I'm going to do it here in about, let's call it 20 minutes tops.
Okay.
Okay? And references are available at LidoScrider.com. I just wish that Republicans grew a spine.
A little bit.
Yeah. Maybe they need some good old pasture spit. Rub it along the back.
I don't think it grows a
Yeah, I'll rub it on your lower back. I don't know. Don't spoil it.
Yeah.
All right.
Just go with it.
So this is what you hear from the left, not from me, that the party switched after the civil rights movement or during.
Everyone knows that the parties flipped during the civil rights movement.
We do,
It's
huh?
common knowledge. I mean, how did the country go from looking like this to looking like this? So this is the situation we're starting with. Democrats in blue, Republicans in red. This is what the country looked like at the end of Reconstruction. Republicans were dominant in the North and West, and Democrats in the South. Lincoln was a Republican, and the states which formed the Confederacy were mostly Democrats.
Whenever they start with everybody knows,
Right.
It's nobody knows the bullshit you spew. This is not correct. Everybody knows. Really? What do you mean you want them to believe that? Okay. So they show you a map.
Right.
Good. Dora the Explorer. You watched it. Good for you.
Who is this guy? Saddam's son?
That was Kuzey knowing better.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was Hussein.
No, Kuzey works for Vox. So not only is it incorrect, Republicans, let's start with this. They were the ones who supported both Civil Rights Acts. Sorry. The Civil Rights Act of 57, okay? It was the House voted, Republicans, 84%, Democrats, 51%.
Huh. Okay.
Senate voted, Republicans, 93%, Democrats, 59%. In 1964, the 64 Civil Rights Act. House voted yes, okay, Republicans, 78, Democrats, 69. We're getting closer. They're making some progress. Senate voted Republicans, 82, Democrats, 60. So a majority of the country, a majority of the representatives of the country supported it, but it was significantly higher. You're talking about an average of 20 to 30 something points Republicans supporting the Civil Rights Act back then. Now I think everyone should know that, but of course they're going to try and argue it switched since then. That's the argument that they try and make.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if everyone, did everyone out there, did you know that? You can comment below.
I've been indoctrinated with that, yes.
Yeah. No, I'm saying
the other way.
The other way.
Yeah, his point. And so this is all good for me now.
Okay,
I'm
good.
actually learning this with
Good.
everyone else.
You're a
Pay
doctor?
attention.
Yeah, no, not that way.
You can get them on. He's DeVry. So
PhD.
Here's also something to note. Only one Democrat politician flipped to Republican during this time period where they talked about how there was a switch. And we're going to go through this transition, how it's taken place over the course of time, really over the course of 40 years, why it had taken place. And it's not because people became more racist. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite. So sometimes, I see this a lot from the left or people online, who you used to get this a lot from the atheist community, right? There's just correlation doesn't equal causation. No, I know. Just apply it here. So people were racist. Got it. And then the map shifted, right? That shifted to more Republican. And you're just assuming that's because they became more racist? Well, why the switch? Why would they switch from the friendly racist Democrat Party to the unfriendly, always historically non-racist Republican Party? You think that's let's just use logic here. What's the path of least resistance? That's always what they take in politics. You think the path of least resistance was changing the entire party? Yes, I've got them right where I want them. See, we'll lay low for 40 years. So one Democrat switched to Republican during this time period that they talk about. I want to get this out of the way. Strom Thurmond.
Great piece of shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Strom Thurmond was a Democrat, okay? Famously filibustered the 57 Civil Rights Act for 24 hours, 18 minutes. That's the longest filibuster in history.
In history.
Democrat, just to be clear.
Democrat.
Because a lot of people don't remember the Democrats did the filibustering of the Civil Rights Act. There was another racist Democrat, Robert Byrd. He did not switch Republican. He filibustered the Civil Rights Act for 14 hours, one of the longest ever in history.
He used to be, I think, in the top 5 until recently, in the last maybe 20 years, and it's started to happen more often.
And I'm using this as a specific example because people try and point to Strom Thurmond and say he became a Republican, therefore the party switched. Well, look, far be it for me to defend Strom Thurmond as a perfect individual. However, you do have to understand that he switched to becoming a Republican. Okay, and once he had become a Republican, he was one of the first Southern senators to hire a black aide.
Yeah,
to be clear.
He authorized the Civil Rights Act. He actually pushed for an MLK Jr. It's important to have that out there. Junior holiday. And Joe Biden actually gave the eulogy for him, obviously, when he passed away. And he said, obviously, he addressed his past. And then he said, he came over to the good side and did some really, good things that were against what he had done.
Didn't
and I'm
he
like, hold on.
impregnate the black aide?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he was going a little too far.
We're not saying that the guy is perfect, but we're saying that this guy did switch. It doesn't matter. He's the only example that Democrats point to.
Right.
And the point is he became a Republican, became less racist.
Well, and the party leader.
Oh, yeah. He was racist when he was a Democrat, though.
Yeah.
Yes,
no, nobody is doubting that.
No one's doubting that he was racist.
Listen to Joe Biden's words here. He said that he came to the good side later on in life. Okay, well, Joe, what does that mean? Because he was a Democrat before he came. The only thing that he'd switched was his party affiliation to Republicans. And you're saying that he came to the good side. And you are the leader of the party that is supposed to be the friend of African Americans and every minority group in the United States. And you're saying this guy's a good guy. And he became a Republican to do it.
That's Joe Biden saying it. He became a good guy. He became a Republican. And then he hired some black aides. He had a change of heart. So all references available at loudwithcrowder.com. The point is you can't have it both ways. Now contrast that with Robert Byrd, who remained a lifelong Democrat, worked for the Klan, just to be recruited for the Klan. So back then,
retired on Klan dental.
Yes, he was, as his day job was filibustering the Civil Rights Act, and he moonlighted as a Klan Grand Dragon Wizard, Cyclops.
And then became a greeter. So
then he became a greeter because he was too old. They said, where do we put Byrd? Just
Welcome.
stick him in the foyer.
Make sure you wear your hoods.
Stick him in the Klan foyer.
He came up with hoods for horses. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. He maybe had a change of heart.
Yeah.
Except as recently as 2001, he said this, while still a Democrat, on air, live television.
My old mom told me, Robert, you can't go to heaven if you hate anybody.
What's nice?
It's a good start.
We practice that. There are white niggers.
Whoa, what?
I've seen a lot of white niggers in my time.
He circled back.
Use that word.
Whoa,
Oh,
wow.
good thing he said that on September 10th.
Yeah.
Hard.
I'm telling you, it was an inside job.
Yeah.
Robert Byrd dropped the N-bomb on live television twice.
And they had to cover
the day
it
before.
Quick meeting.
Had to cover it the next day.
Yeah. Colloidal silver.
Guys, this is going to have to be big.
Jeez.
This isn't just, bury a mistress on a Friday type
No,
story.
no.
It's not a minor.
Yeah.
No.
This
So,
isn't, he ran back to the house while she's drowning in the lake.
No, not exactly. Minor. So again, and I'm not saying that when he was saying that, that means that he was racist, because you need to take it in context. And in context, he was pretty racist.
You think?
And if the wrong two planes went down, he was just a hair's length away from the presidency under Barack Obama as the president pro tempore, I believe.
I heard a white guy say that at an open mic. I'm not even kidding. White N-words, and it was the most uncomfortable I've ever been.
Was it like crickets in the audience?
Yes. No, everybody was like, yes, right. Spit on him. No, it was completely. No, I was like, this guy's going to get hurt really bad after the show, and I'm going to watch.
So let's go through kind of, now that you have these individuals who filibustered the Civil Rights Act, you now have the numbers as to how the Civil Rights Act, 57-64 came to be. Let's talk about the switch of Southern Democrats to Republicans. Well, this is a switch that had taken place over the course of about 40 years, just to be clear. It happened pretty slowly. Before the Civil Rights Act, it was starting, and then you sort of started to see it transition. Again, you started to... Let's start with this. Both parties were racist to begin with.
Yeah.
Okay? At a certain point, both parties...
To some degree, right?
To some degree. Yeah. And then one pulled away.
One freed the slaves. I would call that pulling away.
Yeah, well, we're into that's our closer. But
I'm sorry.
All right.
Spoiler alert. So in 1928, for example, Herbert Hoover was 7,000 votes away in Alabama from winning a majority of former Confederate states. He also won 47.6% of the South's popular vote. This is in 1928.
Okay, 1928.
By the way, I'm not saying that he was a great president, just to be clear.
Well,
Hoover Towns, you know what? That one's on him.
We're not saying that Thurman was an angel either.
No, of course.
Named a vacuum after him. That's how much he sucked.
Yeah, well, don't remind me of President Dyson.
Thank you. High
Don't
five.
get me swearing and saying the damn either.
By 1942, Southern Democrats were already voting with Republicans on non-racial issues. So let me give you some examples here. In 1956, Eisenhower, who signed the 57 Civil Rights Act, won a majority of the popular vote in the South. So this is a change that had been occurring where you could see Republicans becoming increasing. Here's what happened. Look, let's look at and we'll go back to Abraham Lincoln. I'm sure you all know this, that he was a Republican. A lot of people didn't, but you watching right now, listening, this is remedial for you. If you feel bored by this, understand the chasm that exists between you right now, the viewer, the listener, and people who are at Ivy League universities.
Yeah.
Because most of them can't tell you to which party Abraham Lincoln belonged. It's okay, we'll go to that later there, Tim, but I know he was getting ready for me to cue it up because I did a video 12 years ago at Berkeley.
Oh, okay.
But understand that Abraham Lincoln, right, you're talking about he was a Whig at one point, basically, right, the creator effectively, or you would say of the Republican Party, certainly a pioneer. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Trying to couch my words here to be careful, but you know what? Abraham Lincoln, noted Republican, freed the slaves. However, you do have to look at it's sort of like now when people, let's say you're on a road trip, okay? And the kids say, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Well, keep in mind at that point, when they freed the slaves, right, prior to the Emancipation Proclamation, there was no there yet.
Yeah.
Right? So in other words, there's no blueprint. There's no roadmap. You had an Abraham Lincoln. So you had a Republican Party from its inception that was really created out of struggle. It was born in struggle. And the struggle was, we just cannot reconcile our Constitution and the ownership of human beings.
Yeah.
That's the creation of the Republican Party. And then you can see why this started changing, why there was an evolution, why the South started changing after, while we're talking about the Civil War. And you see this party growing and increasing in influence. It's tough for us to look back and go, well, now we have racists and non-racists. Back then, you wouldn't be able to define a racist to anyone.
Yeah.
Okay? Because that was the baseline. So hopefully that helps you contextually. So now what they will tell you is, of course, this happened, and then the party switched, and now they kind of shy away from that. And another argument is, but you know what? It doesn't matter because right now the Democrats are the ones, they're the ones championing civil rights. So checkmate.
The Democratic Party was once the party of white supremacy, supporting slavery and the Ku Klux Klan. Today's Democratic Party believes that government has an important role to play in society. It fights against economic inequality. It advocates policies that battle racial and gender discrimination.
Must you be gay to work for Vox?
And why does it have to be gender? You're talking about race. Like racial and gender discrimination. We're piggybacking off that one.
Okay.
What they're doing is they're trying to get these people to vote for them.
Yes, exactly.
It's very hard to see through this tricky plot.
This ruse.
Pretty much.
Okay,
What
so
a puzzle.
let's be clear. Democrats have been taking advantage of black people specifically. Now it's extended to all minorities, but specifically black people since slavery. Let's go to the people who, their examples, who might have been the strongest champions of civil rights. LBJ, the Great Society. Okay, this is something that a lot of people may not know about. I did a video in Detroit. It was my first on-location super video, I believe, back in 2009, where we talked about Great Society. We talked about Model Cities program.
Yeah.
Talked about Jerome Kavanaugh, first mayor of Detroit, 61, all the way up to today. Now, the Great Society incentivized and increased the number of single-parent households. You've heard the term baby mama. This goes back to Great Society. There was a financial incentive to not be married, to not have a father in the household. This created a massive welfare state, kept people more reliant on government aid. It de-incentivized work. And now, of course, we take that to today, where you look at that. Okay, this is, let's call that soft bigotry. And we'll get to the hard bigotry of LBJ in a second.
Of that.
You thought Robert Byrd was bad, but the soft bigotry was, hey, you know what? If you vote for us, we'll give you 2 checks. Hey, if you vote for us, we'll give you more. We'll create this massive welfare state. Hey, you know, but just don't get married. It's better if you have 2 single households than having a joint household. And there was an incentive for people, and he sought out cities. Detroit was also supposed to be sort of coinciding as a model city, the Model Cities program.
Is Detroit a model city now?
By his standard, yeah. So you have the soft you have the soft bigotry. Well, do we see that today? Let's look at affirmative action. We see this with the Democrats today.
Yeah.
That's championing civil rights by saying black people are so incapable of getting into university that we need to create a quota. And by the way, keep Asians out. These are the consequences of low expectations, of viewing people simply as votes to be garnered, as, hey, we're going to create a welfare state. That's great. We'll give people free stuff if we get them to vote for us. Well, that hurts them. Hey, affirmative action, universities, and then you see black students dropping out at rates that are exponentially higher than their counterparts. Why? Because you've set them up to fail, but you sure get to pat yourself on the back. What else do we have? Voter ID. Well, here's another example of stuff. I can't think of an example in my lifetime that is more of a backhanded insult than saying that black people can't procure identification.
Yeah.
That's the basis of the new Voting Rights Act. It's black people shouldn't have to have ID. It hurts minorities. Can you think of an example of privileged white pricks speaking for black people more clearly than today? And black people don't agree, just to be clear. 73% do not agree. It's not even close.
They also have heritage in America that dates back to most Americans when you think about it. There's no reason they wouldn't have ID. To treat them like they're a new class when they helped build the country makes absolutely no sense.
Good point. Yeah. Were you about to say something there, Joe?
I was about to say, I mean, this with LBJ's incentives, he was basically saying, like, a lot of people see these are perverse incentives that he created. I'm like, no. He was making people dependent. Mm-hmm. That was his entire goal, because look at the amount of money that you get. The amount of money that you get is not enough to feel great and live a lavish lifestyle. It's just enough.
It's just enough
to keep you out of it's just you're hungry, you're not starving under LBJ's plan.
Right.
That's what he did. And you're not so hungry that you're going to go out and make a change. You're just comfortable enough in the mess that you're in to not make a change.
Well, there have been people I'm trying to think. I don't want to misquote anybody, but there were some presidents of sports organizations. One of them might have been Dana White with the UFC, but this has also been used, to be fair. It's been used to corrupt places like boxing, where they basically underpay fighters, or they end up taking financial advantage of them. But it's been said, too, that with athletes, and you see this with a lot of athletes, pragmatically speaking, you have people who've been the heads of sports organizations who have said, the problem is someone comes in who's really hungry, coming in from university, they get tens of millions of dollars, and it's real. Now they don't care, and it's hard to incentivize them, right? And so a lot of the time, these people want these athletes under their thumb and pay them enough so that they kind of reap the benefits, but they're still hungry. I think the old quote is Marvin Hagler: "It's hard to get up at 5 a.m. to go for a run when you're waking up in silk sheets." And so LBJ understood this, and so did the Democrats, where they were saying, we're going to give you just enough, but just enough to make it to the next check, so that you know where that check is coming from. By the way, that's how you condition dogs. Just to be clear, how do you condition? This is how you train dogs. This is how you train a lot of animals, but certainly dogs. If you want to condition them positively, you reward behavior with a treat. But guess what you don't do? You typically don't do that right after a meal, right? You give them a treat. You don't fill them up on a treat, because they need to know where the next treat's coming from. It's, all right, you get this. Now, go over there. Okay, sit. You get this treat. I know it's not enough. You're not starving. You have enough. But okay, now lay down. No treat.
Yeah.
here's a check. No, wait, hold on a second. Make sure, are you voting the right? Okay, here's another one, but just enough. Or, okay, here's a welfare state. Okay, here are EBT cards. Okay, this is how it works. This is how you condition people to become
Here's rent
dependent.
control. Here's eviction moratorium, even though I know it's not legal. And by the way, this is not a new theory, right? This is written down in Proverbs in Scripture. If a man does not work, he does not eat. And it paraphrases basically to say, let his belly be his guide. When he's hungry enough, he'll get up and go work so that he can eat. Yeah. That's the kind of motivation we need because we're at our heart, we're selfish, lazy people. And if you allow us to live there, it produces nothing good.
I try to give my dogs EBT cards, but they don't work.
A choking hazard.
Is that what it is? Because they don't even care.
What's the proverb you just said?
If a man does not work, he does not eat. Let his belly be his guide. I think that's all in one, but
Steven Seagal has one hell of a guide.
Yeah.
He does, yeah. I got a guide.
Too many people's bellies are their guides right now.
When I use my belly compass, bad things happen to me.
And toilets.
Yes. So here's also LBJ. That's the soft racism. And you see it through policy. And I hate that term, but that's the term that we're sort of using here because it's a term that I know that you're probably more familiar with.
It's soft when it's not hard.
Right. Here's the hard racism from LBJ. Historians Ronald Kressler and Doris Goodwin, these are all quotes on the record. These are LBJ quotes. These Negroes getting pretty uppity these days, and that's a problem for us. Here's another quote. Now, we've got to do something about this. We've got to give them a little something, just enough to quiet them down, not enough to make a difference. And I want to give you another quote because this is something back when, LiarScreditor.com, and now you can see the references there, but back when we were mainly writing articles before this show was the size that it was, a big part of what we did was writing daily articles. And it was tough to find a source for this quote from LBJ. This had been circulating around. And so we ended up doing a story, I think a long time ago, on Snopes not fact-checking this horrible quote that you're about to hear from LBJ, not saying it's false, but doing everything in their power to avoid acknowledging that it's true. Because again, these quotes from these historians that you just heard, no one doubts them. Okay, who presented these quotes? These people are legitimate. You have Robert Kressler, right? These are the previous quotes. Yep. Okay, and Snopes like, okay, this was said. Now, Snopes wrote the following quote as unproven, even though the other ones we know are true from the same sources. Robert Kressler wrote that, and it says, I'll have them N-words voting Democrat for 200 years. I would quote accurately, but I'm not Robert Byrd, so I can't get away with it.
I'm so happy you didn't.
Now, the Snopes rationale for fact-checking this quote, to be clear, they didn't say it was false.
Right, yeah.
But they can't prove that it was true. This is their rationale. It says, circling back to the quote which we started, it wouldn't have been entirely out of character for LBJ to have said something like, I'll have those N-words voting Democratic for 200 years. But on balance, we have to question its authenticity. Now, keep in mind, this is the same Snopes that said Ilhan Omar did not marry her brother. Sorry, unproven. Unproven. Here's a marriage certificate. Unproven. Here's a name. Unproven.
When it comes
Here's
to
the honeymoon picture with curly straws. We don't know.
When it comes to incest, unproven means yes.
Can I paraphrase Snopes? Yeah. That sounds like him.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like something she would do.
I mean, if I'm being honest, but I'm usually not.
I mean, given what he said before, that's not as bad as what he said otherwise. So yeah, it's probably him.
Listen, I mean, we can't all be, I forgot you never made a mistake.
Some of us marry our brothers.
Listen, he said for 100 years, Stephen. That is a false quote.
Snopes said we couldn't prove it true, and PolitiFact rated it as, I forgot that you're Mr. Perfect.
What a stupid response. I mean, come on. It's not like we watched him do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't there.
Right. Like, I will fill out their votes for them for the next 200
I only
years.
saw him kiss.
Thing.
Yeah.
They only kissed. I mean, it was.
Yeah, what about Ilhan Omar and her non-brother's son? Oh, yeah, I have no idea.
Just jumping through a fiery hoop.
Yeah.
What is this? Ferris Bueller when Sloane kisses her father, picking him up at the beginning. He's like,
Ilhan Omar, I'd like to have a couple of words with you, by God. So, Lincoln, I fact-check you and then you insult me. What the hell's the matter with you, Omar, anyway? So, Rooney. Here's another argument that they make that Lincoln would have been a Democrat today, right? You hear this a lot. You'll see it at HuffPo. References available at LiARS.com. Of course, I say that this is incorrect, but don't take my word for it.
Party of Abraham Lincoln. Don't ever, I say it all the time. Everyone thinks that Abraham Lincoln was a Democrat. No. Abraham Lincoln was a great Republican.
Okay, so here's something. Let me try and simplify this. Okay. Do you remember how in the 2008 election, John McCain was trying to distance himself from George W. Bush because he wasn't the best president? People weren't happy with him, right? So he was like, hey, we're going to endorse it. He was like, that's all right. So if the party today, the Republican Party today, if you say they switch, this is the premise. We just showed you from Vox, and what was it? The one who's Truth Before, whatever it is, Lookout Truth, the guy that everybody knows. I don't know. Another gay guy in a plaid shirt. So I don't say that as a pejorative.
No,
it's descriptive.
No, it absolutely is.
If I were to say, the guy on the other, you'd be like, well, which clip? Gay guy, plaid shirt. You go, oh, I got it.
You had to include plaid shirt.
Right.
So if the party switched from Abraham Lincoln, okay, the acknowledgement, right? The premise from the left is Abraham Lincoln, Republican, freed the slaves, but then it switched. Why would today's racist party be clamoring to continually identify themselves with Abraham Lincoln? Why would Donald Trump say, in other words, if you believe that Donald Trump is a politician, right, who just wants to say what people want to hear, why is the current Republican assuming that all other current Republicans like the Republican who freed the slaves? It would be a losing strategy if he was saying it to a room of racists. Does that make sense?
He would be booed
and
jeered.
So, and Trump does have a point, though, that they often try to claim, the left, they try to, a lot of people believe this. This was, I think, back in 2009. And just to be clear, I hate the kind of jaywalking gotcha stuff because you can do that with anybody. However, the context here was I never planned on doing a video asking the party of Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
It came up, this is before the term virtue signaling existed, okay? It came up because I asked people who their favorite president was, and everyone, well, most people invariably answered Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
And so it was a simple follow-up. It was like, okay, to which party do you belong? And then they couldn't answer. These are current students at Berkeley, or as the left refers to you, their best and brightest.
I guess that's kind of a cliched answer, but I'll say Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln? I'm gonna go ahead and say Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
Abe Lincoln was easily the most popular. Naming the party of the old dude with the beard and hat, a little more daunting.
And to what party did Abraham Lincoln belong?
Whig?
Yes, Abe Lincoln was not a Whigger.
I'll say, I'm not sure.
Uyghur,
yeah.
Back then, I believe he was a Republican, but that was nominally a Republican.
Well, she's basically right.
Yeah, nominally a Republican.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on a second. Do you mean, first off, by the way, to be clear, was a Whig and then said, I'm going to create something, Republicanism.
What year was that, 09?
Nominally. It's like, Edison nominally, something light bulb, I don't know.
Well, yes.
I bet she's gross now.
Benjamin Franklin nominally liked to fly kites.
Democrats loved slavery so much, they tried to form another country and have that as the platform.
Yeah, you had to remove their statues.
I mean, do you understand the argument that you're making? Do you think that just goes away?
Yeah.
No, they just found a better way to control you.
You should have asked her what nominally means, and she'd be like, I don't know.
Well, nominally speaking, nominally means...
They said it, and I said it.
Something.
And that's about the end of my answer.
I don't know.
Well, then, I think in that same video,
party.
I'm not sure if that's that same video. This is back in 2009. So I've been doing this, Louder with Crowder. I think started 2009, 2008. It's been around for a while.
Quotes in it in a negative way.
Well, I just mean like
Louder with Crowder.
because it wasn't this exact show.
Right.
It was, back then there were no podcasts. Like when we started this, podcasts weren't. Again, there was no there yet. But the Louder with Crowder episodics, these started like in, I want to say 2009, 2008.
You look so young.
Thank you.
I mean, now.
Yeah.
Back then, you looked pretty bad.
Awkward.
It's always it's just one of life's cruel tricks that you lose your baby fat once you grow your beard, but it's immediately gray.
It does go gray pretty fast.
There should be a rule that you shouldn't be able to have gray hair and pimples.
I hate that I lost all that baby fat.
Oh, baby!
I look like an old baby.
The baby collecting Social Security, that one.
My belly.
So I think in that same video where I did a Berkeley series, it might be that one, but you can go back through this if you're on YouTube right now. And by the way, if you're on YouTube, smash that like button right now. That's also something that helps, and you can comment below. We're going to wrap this up and go to Mug Club. In 2009, also, I was in class, and they didn't have hidden cameras back then. So it was literally me with a baseball cap and the equivalent to 4 GoPros in it. It was like a trucker cap.
You had to sit
and I'm sitting in there,
balance the whole time.
I put like a one of those picture cameras in a coffee cup that would last about 35 seconds.
Yeah.
But you can see some footage where a teacher is teaching their students at Berkeley. I'm in the classroom. This is before hidden camera stuff existed on YouTube. Teaching them that we, meaning Americans, went into the old world and captured and enslaved people and took them to the new world. And I asked her just a simple question. This was in a big class. And back then I looked young enough, right, Dave? So
You did.
I asked the professor, I said, hey, yeah, how many of these slaves in the United States were, as you said, stolen, captured versus sold and purchased, sold into slavery from the old world? She said, that's a very good question. Teaching the class. And I don't know the answer to that. Well, it's the lowest number you'll see is 80%, and it's as high as 95, depending on the estimates that you use. What's the name of that guy who did the beer summit? I always forget his name. The black guy with the crazy hair.
Fred Rogers?
No, the black guy with the I always someone will. He did the beer summit at the White House. Remember that guy?
I don't.
With the cop.
Clarence Williams.
He's always sitting there, my brother on CNN. That guy. I always forget his name. Anyway,
Al Sharpton?
he estimated that it was 96%.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I
can't
keep
think
forgetting
of
his name.
though.
But the lowest number is 80. What?
Did it narrow it down?
Did you find it, Tokunawa?
Yeah, Don.
Not Don King.
No.
Not Don King.
Don
That's
Amos?
a fight promoter.
What? Did
Don
you find
Knotts?
it?
I typed in black guy. It autocorrected.
It's like, is it Colonel
crazy
something?
hair.
Not Colonel
Hold on.
something. It's, gosh.
Yes, it's Colonel Sanders.
I can't remember his name. I cannot remember the guy's name. I'm horrible with names.
I know who
I can picture his face in my head. There was a beer summit with Barack Obama because this guy this was kind of the first.
He looks like Clarence
Black
Williams
Latin-
III, though. I know he does.
Yeah, I know
who
who-
you're
yeah,
talking.
I think-
Yeah. From Tales from the Hood.
He was the first guy who got arrested by a police officer, and everyone made it about race. And so then Barack Obama invited him to the White House. There was a beer summit, and one of them preferred Blue Moon. I can remember all of these things, and I know that's 100% right, but I can't remember his name. Isn't that insane?
At least if you meet him, you'll know what drink he wants.
Yes.
Yeah, well.
I think it was a white guy who preferred Blue Moon. He was a 45 man.
Well,
I got you.
really?
No, I don't blame him.
Slits. Malt liquor.
Anyway, someone will find the name. We'll get it on Mug Club. But the point is, this was a guy who was like a black liberation theologist, right?
Yeah.
He's a professor.
Wait, Cornell West?
Cornell West! See, I was like, Colonel Cornell West!
And
We have a picture
you
of
type in
Cornell West?
Clarence Williams and tell me if they don't look the same.
The third.
And I don't mean like in a race. They just, some people look like that.
Right.
You look like Tom Hanks.
Didn't you go on a show with him one time and he got up and stormed? Was that Cornell West?
No.
No.
No. When
Cornell
you
West is very highly educated.
No, I know.
At least
Didn't you
he's-
Skype in with somebody and he said, "Brother Crowder," and you were like jokingly said, "I am not your brother." And then this guy, I swear to you, this was I think up in Michigan. You Skyped into an interview and this guy threw his head.
Got mad?
Down. Yeah, he got mad. He looked like Cornell West if it wasn't Cornell West.
Mate,
Very,
I don't remember. A
very
guy
similar.
walked off?
Yes. How can you not remember this?
I don't remember this.
This is hilarious. We got to find this at some point. All right.
I think maybe the guy was joking. Anyway.
I think you're talking about Cornell East.
You had really pissed him off. He was very seriously angry.
Cornell Eastern Conference.
That's what it was.
Yes. Okay, different guy.
Cornell
So
South.
the point is, I remember him estimating Cornell West. I think if you type in this right now, you know what, and we'll take your chance. I want to say that he said, or he gave an estimate that the amount of slaves who were sold as opposed to captured was 90-something%. I think he might have said as high as 96%.
Wow.
So you guys can find that reference, and I'll show it on Mug Club. But everything else, and by the way, there will be a bonus to whoever there in the mission control on Mug Club who fact checks everything that I just said. Cornell West was arrested by a police officer. Then Barack Obama had them to the White House for a beer summit. One of them preferred Blue Moon. And also find that number of the estimate from Cornell West about how many of them were sold into slavery versus captured. These are the things that I remember. It's bizarre, and I can't remember a name. It's like, Tammy! I'll be sitting there like, I remember you went to Heritage Academy High School. You were an honor student. I remember you were in the international program. You did figure skating. I also remember that your hair was blonde. Then you dyed it red. I remember that. And then I'm like, well, yeah, but what's my name? I don't know, Mrs. TLC. So
Left Eye West.
Yes. Lincoln, let's go back to Lincoln, and we'll close it with this. He was a firm believer in personal liberty and the Constitution. Let me read you some quotes. And it's ironic that I'm using Snopes now. He said, in all that the people can individually do as well for themselves, government ought not to interfere. We the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the men who pervert the Constitution.
Yeah.
So this is what I want to leave you with. The shift in the South was something, and it's so funny because I often encourage being reductive. I encourage you to be able to... there's an old saying, I don't remember who said it, so this is not, well, I can't remember the name of who said it. There's an old saying that if you can't explain, if you can't give your pitch, if you can't explain the concept, make your case in 30 seconds or less, you have no business making it. So I think it's important, I think it's a valuable skill, not to take simple topics and make them complicated, but to take complicated topics and make them simple. Why? I believe that any skill, I think this is the difference between sort of virtue signaling and reading your resume versus an actual skill. Comparing, for example, trade schools versus a gender studies degree. How do you say one is a value? It benefits others, right? A useless skill or a useless degree, or in this case, a useless gift where people want to pretend to be, let's say, hyperly intelligent. It's a gift for yourself. If you can take a simple topic and make it complicated so fewer people understand it and then use the term nuance to cover your tracks, you're not helping anybody. A valuable skill is somebody really, really smart who's able to take it and boil it down. So ironically, as someone who says there's nothing wrong with being reductive, I actually value that skill more than creating something or making it more complex than it needs to be. In this situation, look, the transition of the South to Republican took place over a long period of time. It took place over a long series of issues. And I encourage you to go check all references, again, at the website. The link is in the description. However, so it is more nuanced. But to simplify it, Republican Party was created to end slavery. That's a big reason for it. Not the only reason, but the Republican Party was born out of, inner turmoil, conflict. I sounded like a Southerner. Oil. What do you mean, oil?
No.
It was born out of conflict. It was born out of struggle. It was born out of a conscience of, look, we cannot do this. We can't keep people as property and then talk about property rights and talk about individual rights. That's how it was created. That was the reason that it existed. And you look through history, they supported civil rights. You see that. And then today, you still see Democrats enacting legislatively the kind of soft bigotry of low expectations that you saw from LBJ, that you saw a long time ago. And today, you still have Donald Trump. You still have Ron DeSantis. You still have today's Republicans invoking Abraham Lincoln. So they were anti-slavery, they were anti-racist back then, and the people today still want to have him on their money and get his endorsement. There's a lot that happened in between. Just don't buy the premise from the left, because if you just fact check a little bit, just a couple of points, it falls apart. And by that, I mean actually fact check, not a Snopes. Ilhan Omar may or may not have banged her brother. Okay, right now, leave a comment. We're about to go to Mug Club and take your chats. YouTube, piss off.